Is now the time that I should buy a house or should I consider renting? Hey, it's Ryan Hodge here, broker owner at the Realty firm here in London, Ontario. Sandra, Tavares, and I have been selling real estate here for nearly 20 years. And we're in a buyer's market right now, inching towards a little bit more balance, but the numbers can change through the year. We often get asked, should I buy a property or should I rent? And I'm going to suggest that most real estate agents are going to say always buy. Here's the fact of life though. There are times where renting may make more sense, perhaps as a reset in terms of your life or trying to eliminate some debt. There may be times where, shifting into a different market as far as the location, you want to rent so that you can get comfortable somewhere. Perhaps you're looking at a short-term rental if you're going through a separation instead of just buying something new. Everybody has a different path in life, a different journey that they're on. But I wanted to break down just the pure details. Obviously, as a real estate broker here in London and nearly 20 years of experience, I'm going to suggest that home ownership is the number one way that you will build wealth and protect yourself financially over a lifetime. However, I do get it if renting is an option, and I'll speak to some other options as well. So here's a clean comparison for London, Ontario. I pulled some numbers today. The current rental benchmark, from everything that I can see, shows a median rent at $1,875 a month, with one bedroom around $1,675, two bedrooms around $2,150. Apartments are averaging $1,875. And homes around $2,247. So you've got to look at apples to apples based on your own family's or individual needs. Now, the ownership benchmark as far as owning a home. So the last statistics in May 2026 report showed that London and St. Thomas average home price was $662,292, which is a lot of money right now compared to years gone by. Median price at $585,000, townhouse average $475,935, and an apartment average, which usually is going to come with condominium fees, $357,630. So when you factor in an apartment price, basically what you're going to see is, your difference as far as all in, you're going to have a typical estimated all-in monthly fee of $2,300 to $2,700 per month. Okay, that is going to be substantially different than a rental price. Same thing with townhouse, same thing with a median home, same thing with an average home. The bottom line, renting is cheaper month to month right now because a typical renter may be paying $1,875 to $2,300 per month, while a typical homeowner is going to carry $3,000 to $4,900 per month on average, depending on the property type, the down payment that you're able to make, property taxes, insurance, condo fees if they exist, utilities, and maintenance. So the dynamic right now is that in the short term, renting is going to be less expensive. But in the long term, if you have the ability to purchase a home, you are going to generate the ability to build equity and build wealth and ensure that your money is not just paying for nothing other than the roof over your head for a period of time. And so, again, I understand if renting is the only option right now, but if you are capable of home ownership, this is an opportune time to purchase because you are in more of a buyer's market, which means that there's more selection. It means that homes are sitting on the market, and it means that you've probably got a lot more in terms of negotiating power. So we know that many folks have the dream of home ownership, and that's what Sandra and I look to support with day in and day out, helping people achieve that dream inside of London, Ontario. If you are looking to find a solution, in one of my past videos, I talked about the first home savings account option. Check that video out. I also talked about the opportunity to use the London, Ontario down payment program for first-time home buyers. That too is an option. Now, the other options that you may want to explore are private lending. So sometimes you don't qualify for a traditional mortgage, and there are companies and people out there that will lend money privately to help somebody purchase a home. It does not come without a cost, though. A private lender is significantly going to be more expensive in terms of service fees and also your interest rate, oftentimes very, very high. However, depending on your own financial position, if you don't have the capacity for as large a down payment, but you're insistent on getting into home ownership, exploring with a proper mortgage broker the potential for a B lender, so not necessarily a bank or your traditional lender that a mortgage broker will use, but what's called a B lender or a private lender may be an option for you to consider. If you're watching this video and you want to have a list of resources for B lenders or private lenders, by all means reach out to us. We have that list access at all times. The other thing that we're seeing on the market is the potential for rent to own. So rent to own in Ontario is done where you basically have two agreements. You agree to rent the property on a specific term, but you also have a second agreement should you decide to purchase. And if you're in a rent to own agreement, there's usually going to be a portion of the rent that you're paying into the potential to actually purchase and use some of that money that's accumulating that would go towards the purchase when you decide to buy. Now, the seller of a property that's actually going to be your landlord in essence is usually going to give this type of opportunity what's called a first right of refusal, where if he does or she does want to sell the property and she's about to put it on the market or she has somebody else that is interested in the property, you're usually going to get the first opportunity. And if you qualify and if the funds and resources are there that, allow you to make that decision to then purchase, you're in the driver's seat that way. And there are other companies inside of the London, Ontario marketplace that support in the rent to own type of dynamic as well. So there's some options for you that I thought that I would give you in terms of exploration, because right now in a buyer's market, I think it's just such a great opportunity to purchase. And I know that home sales have basically tripled in the last 10, 12 years. But if you can get in and you can find a solution, which we look to help our clients with, it is one of the most opportune times in the history of organized real estate inside of the London, Ontario marketplace. I think that there's great opportunities for you to purchase rather than rent. I think that there's great opportunities for people that are looking to build their first home as well in terms of new construction with the HST rebates. I've done other videos on that. And I think that it's prime time for you to explore your options if you're in that debate. If you ever want to connect with Sandra or myself and do a real breakdown as far as what is more beneficial for you, renting in London, Ontario in 2026 or beyond, or buying a home in 2026, by all means, reach out to us anytime. You can visit us online at www.ryanandsandra.ca, or you can give us a call at 519-601-1160. Our purpose is to serve and support London, Ontario homeowners, potential renters, potential homeowners before, during, and after the sale. And we are always available to answer your questions and support you in any way that we can. Have a great day.